Now realize that eternal salvation has been for years. Abraham knew about eternal salvation. Moses knew about eternal salvation. That is why Moses chose not to die in Canaan, because he knew about eternal salvation. You know, and he held those people. And because they didn't accept what he did, he gave them the law. 613 laws to keep struggling under. That's why it's called Moses the lawgiver. Moses the lawgiver. Why did he give them the law? Because they refused the gospel. His sister challenged him. He flushed leprosy on her. And after giving her leprosy, he said, I have interceded for you. Moses. It was all Moses. All that leprosy was Moses in operation. Because there's no death in God. He even told them, God speaks to me face to face. You people have not even seen his shadow. It was Moses. He spoke on behalf of God. Because Moses was a servant over his house. Like Jesus is a son over his house. You don't understand? Moses was a servant over his house. Like Jesus is a son over his house, whose house you are. So the same way Jesus is in charge, that's how Moses was in charge. Meaning Moses could declare whatever and see it happen. He gave a leprosy for talking to him like that. He told them they cannot enter the Holy of Holies except the high priest. He entered and walked out freely. And he told the high priest they can only enter once a year. He was entering free of charge. He told them that the priest will sprinkle blood and oil on them. Nobody sprinkled blood on. He is the guy in charge. And when they challenged him, he said, how dare you speak to my servant? For I speak to him face to face. Meanwhile, God has never spoken to Moses face to face. But Moses claimed that. After all, he's a servant over that house. Teaching good? That's why Jesus would say, Moses said. Jesus never said God said. Jesus said, Moses, you have heard, it has been said. Moses said, but I say. He didn't say God said through Moses. He said Moses is the one that said all those things. This is what I say, and it always contradicted. And Moses himself said, a prophet like unto me shall the Lord God raise unto you. Him shall you hear in all things, whatsoever he shall say. And anybody that will not hear him shall be destroyed. So what Moses is simply saying is, I am putting a disclaimer on the things I am claiming, subject to what he will say. Are we in this building here? So that's why when he gave them the gospel and they rejected the gospel, he took laws and put on their necks. Jesus never said for one, God said through Moses. Jesus never said that for once. He kept saying, Moses said, you have heard of old, it has been said, but I say. If he was the one, if it was God speaking through Moses, Jesus will not contradict Moses because Jesus is God. In Matthew chapter 5, you have heard, he took time to put Moses squarely in his place. And Moses took time to tell you ahead of time. When he comes, him shall you hear in whatever he will tell you. And anybody that will not hear that prophet like unto me shall be destroyed. Moses a servant over his house. Jesus a son over his house, whose house you are. So if you are Jesus' house, you have no business with the law of Moses.